territory of the province of Genoa is characterized by mountains which stand side by side over the sea. You could say that here the sea level is low. Like any other stretch of coast, the province of Genoa's coast is conditioned by the conformation of the area lying directly behind it. The buttresses of the Apennine chain carry on into the sea with an uneven frontage, preserving the morphology of the hinterland rich in mountains and valleys. The Apennines also condition the characteristics of the many, though modest, watercourses, which plunge into the sea via numerous valleys perpendicular to the coast. In reality, they are little more than streams, swollen up as a result of heavy rainfall, which bring downstream large quantities of water and every possible kind of debris imaginable. But even during calm periods, when alluvial material is scarce, these watercourses slowly but relentlessly etch away at the rocks of our coast. The coast is therefore steep both above and below sea level. Underwater, you can easily distinguish where the more important watercourses meet. In fact, the material transported by the current form proper underwater canyons. At the summit of the Ligurian Arch, the slope is etched by one of these very canyons, which begins at the confines of the continental shelf near Genoa. It has been excavated by two streams, the Bisagno and the Polcevera, as often occurs above the coastline. Over the years, the rivers have brought and deposited materials which have been constantly molded by the force of the sea, producing the rare beaches to be found. This force becomes evident during high tides and, with the passing of time, has modeled the point at which land makes contact with the sea, determining the morphology of our coastline. The supply of material is influenced by the flow of the surface waters and by the continuous and intense activity of the sea, which relentlessly crumbles the lower area of the rocky walls, causing the collapse of boulders, which the waves in turn transform into pebbles, then sand. This sand is then taken elsewhere, usually towards the sea floor, to the abyssal pits, which are very close to the shore. Looking down from above sea level, our coastline seems mainly rocky and made up, for the most part, of limestone, sandstone and serpentine, with numerous large valleys which are perpendicular to the coast, high jagged cliffs interrupted by a few small beaches. But the beauty of the mountains continues in the marine waters, which become deep immediately. The primary stretch of deep water, which surrounds the land above sea level, called the continental shelf, is by convention limited to a depth of 200 meters. In the Gulf of Genoa, the water is less deep, but descends rapidly, with a slope towards the abyssal plain. The continental shelf covers a strip of a few meters of the entire Ligurian Sea. On the west, it descends rapidly to a depth of 2,400 to 2,500 meters, but on the east it spreads further and further, so much so that the Tuscan islands of Gorgona and Capraia are practically linked to the coast by the continental shelf. In some areas, already at a depth of 30 to 40 meters, after a narrow strip made up of fine or not so fine sand, you meet an endless stretch of mud which becomes thicker and thicker as you move further away from the coast. The mud is a result of the rain, the skeleton-like remains of organisms which, as they die, fall slowly down and cover the sea floor over thousands and thousands of years. The waters, especially above the continental shelf, are rich in nutritious substances. The presence of these substances allows for the setting up of complex food chains which can sustain entire populations of cetaceans. One of the environmental factors which characterizes the marine environment is the light and its ability to penetrate the mass of water. Thanks to the depth of the basin and the lack of large rivers, the Ligurian Sea is particularly clear and visibility is not unusual even at a depth of 30 to 40 meters, above all offshore, so much so that photosynthesis occurs up to a depth of 70 to 100 meters in some areas. Underwater, near to the coast, visibility is conditioned by pollution, which makes the coastal waters torpid. Fortunately, the Ligurian Sea is characterized by frequent changes in the surface waters, thanks to the tramontana winds, which push the more torpid waters offshore, where they are diluted and they re-establish an often acceptable transparency. Light plays a fundamental part in the life of the sea, as it's at the heart of chlorophyll photosynthesis, a biochemical process which makes use of solar energy, put into praxis by thousands of microscopical vegetable organisms called phytoplanktons. This is the process upon which the food chain is grafted. Through a muddled web of primary producers, substantially vegetable and of herbivorous and carnivorous consumers, the organic substance and therefore energy passes through every level of the commonly named food pyramid, finally reaching man, a predator par excellence. During the journey through the levels of the food chain, energy loss generally amounts to 90% and therefore approximately 1,600 kilograms of phytoplankton form the basis of just a kilo of the growth of a man who lives on fish alone. The temperature is another important physical parameter for understanding sea life. Temperature trends in Liguria are quite regular in the course of a year. They fluctuate between 12 and 13 and 25 and 26 degrees centigrade for the surface waters. Naturally, at the river mouths and the shoals of bays or ports, where the mixing of water is limited, these figures can vary significantly. However, as a general rule, we can state that the Ligurian Sea has homogeneous thermic characteristics. As is the case for the rest of the Mediterranean, temperatures never drop below 12 to 13 degrees centigrade, even at the deepest points. This particular thermic condition exists because the deeper and much colder Atlantic waters are not able to pass through the Straits of Gibraltar, which are comparatively of a modest depth and represent the only route of exchange between oceanic and Mediterranean waters. During the winter, the homogeneous temperature of the entire mass of water allows for the free vertical circulation of waters. A rise in temperature can occur in deeper waters rich in salt materials, which replenish the surface layers with the materials necessary for triggering off the processes analyzed previously, which are at the root of the productivity of the sea. In the summer, on the other hand, the upper layers warm up to a temperature of 22 to 25 degrees centigrade as a result of direct sunlight, whilst the masses of water are divided from a thermic point of view into two very different layers, separated by an area called thermoclino, where, in the space of a few meters, the temperature drops suddenly. The layer of warm waters above the thermoclino and the colder waters have differing densities and salt content, which do not allow the waters to mix and forbids any kind of upward passage of nutrients. This in turn means that the surface layers, where, as we know, chlorophyll photosynthesis takes place, are impoverished. The movement of the waters play a fundamental part from a biological point of view, as it allows for the spreading of those elements essential to life through the entire mass of water. The tide is one example of hydrodynamism, though in Liguria it is rather limited as it never surpasses a height of 30 centimeters. The currents in the Ligurian Sea are much more important. They are related to the wind direction, the tide, and to complex phenomena linked to temperatures, salt content, water density, and variations in atmospheric pressure. The currents are naturally linked to the greater, more general course and circulation of surface waters and deeper waters, at the root of which is the particular exchange between the waters of the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. A continuous flow of Atlantic surface waters penetrates the Mediterranean via the Straits of Gibraltar, which is only 350 meters deep, whilst a part of the deeper Mediterranean waters enters the Atlantic, travelling under the arriving ocean currents at a depth of 150 meters. In this way, every year, 55,000 cubic kilometers of ocean flow in, and 53,000 cubic kilometers of the Mediterranean flow out, while a good 200 kilometers are lost because of the effects of evaporation, which prevails over rainfall and the water originating from rivers. The Ligurian Sea is affected by two main currents, originating from the Atlantic and from the east. Each current comes up from the southwest along the west coast of Corsica, and when at the center of the basin, they head turn towards the west, overlapping at the coast of Provence. The meeting of these waters, of different origin and therefore with differing chemical and physical characteristics, generates a cyclonic circulation at the center of the basin, which in certain periods of the year creates a proper circuit, above all when low pressures gravitate on the Ligurian Sea. These currents are not usually very strong, about 10 to 20 centimeters per second, and they are largely influenced by local conditions and the turning of the seasons. The currents between the Ligurian and the Tyrrhenian basins, on the other hand, are rather modest, and they flow below the coast along the Tuscan and Ligurian coastline. Moreover, you are likely to find secondary currents conditioned by the wind direction and barometric pressures in the coves along the coast. As far as the chemical aspects of our sea are concerned, the concentration of dissolved gases, above all oxygen and carbon dioxide, play an important part in biological cycles. The Ligurian Sea boasts frequent changes in its waters, and therefore, even deeper waters do not have a deficit in oxygen, except maybe in some limited areas, such as in the harbors. The presence of carbon dioxide is constant, as it is highly soluble and has a fundamental role in photosynthesis, in regulating acidity levels, and in calcifying the supporting framework of a large amount of marine organisms. When considering the composition of the salt content of the water, we can say that it is generally stable on a global basis, whereas the total salt content of certain basins tend to change considerably. The Ligurian Sea, like the rest of the Mediterranean, is rather salty when you compare it to the oceans, because of a lack in river water supplies, rapid evaporation, and a limited flow of the less salty Atlantic waters through the Straits of Gibraltar. In seawater, you can find, although maybe in low concentrations, all the elements known to nature, and some of these are used selectively by the organisms. Some salts, for example, are essential to the construction of skeleton-like shells and other supporting frameworks of marine organisms. Nutritious salts are, however, those which have an important part to play in the development of the phytoplanktonic population, the first link of the food chain. The most recent finding in the biological oceanography field confirms that the idea of low production levels in the open sea environment of the Mediterranean is no longer bearable. The reasons for this seem to be connected to the unusual hydrology of this enclosed basin, which looks like a miniature version of an ocean. Therefore, if we are considering the water facing the coast, it is correct to say that these waters are low in nutrients. But if we are considering the pelagic waters, we have to classify them as waters with high primary production levels. This explains the abundance in sea mammals reaching the Ligurian coast, which boasts a high concentration. The existence of Boa Odas in the Gulf of Genoa, a project created and launched by the National Research Council, is important for studying our sea and its secrets. Boa Odas is a buoy with a 52-meter-long pole structure, moored at a depth of 1,270 meters, where Genoa meets Capocorsa, 37 miles away from Genoa. It was created as a means of measuring meteorological parameters, which can be used in navigation and for improving our understanding of the phenomena of the sea. The project has grown gradually, and now Boa Odas, after having been completely renovated in 1991, can give meteorological data as well as provide data concerning the sea. Given its remarkable structure, this boa represents a kind of miniature island for the sea fauna, and as a result, it has been enveloped by an ecosystem of high biodiversity. Data measured is sent regularly to land every hour and collected at the ground station of the Institute of Naval Automation, part of the National Research Council. The BOA system is expanding. In fact, experiments are being carried out on a modulus for measuring the physical and chemical characteristics of the water, which are very important parameters for understanding the delicate mechanisms of this seemingly silent and homogeneous world, which has an enormous potential as a resource, but nonetheless depends on the activity of microorganisms such as monocellular seaweed and bacteria. Without light and without these elements, life on Earth, at least as we know it, would have never begun 3.5 billion years ago.